then you integrate. Just follow these steps and you will do great. First you separate and then you integrate. Just follow these steps and you will do great. First you separate and then you integrate. Just follow these steps and you will do great.
Tis the season to be serving.
When I was solving equations, I was feeling amazing.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. So this lesson is all about squaring binomials. So we're doing squaring binomials. Everyone understands what squaring means. You may not understand what a binomial is. You should, but a binomial is just an algebraic expression consisting of two terms. There's some misconceptions about this process when I get students every year. So let me point out the biggest misconception people have about squaring binomials and then break down exactly how we find them. So let's say, for instance, I wanted to do x plus 7 squared. Now, the biggest misconception that people have is you get a lot of people that think that this is x squared plus 49, which of course it's not. So this will never be something like this. Again, many people believe this is true, but this is not true. Now, you may be a skeptic, and in fact, it's very good to be intellectually skeptical about things. And you may say, why isn't this true? Okay, well, the easiest way in math to show why something isn't true is to show one counterexample. So I can show you that this doesn't work. This process of when you're squaring a sum, you just take the sum of the squares. For instance, let's take 3 plus 4 squared. Okay, what is 3 plus 4 squared? Hopefully you would say 49. If you said 49, you're absolutely right, because this is 7 squared, and 7 times 7 is 49. And I don't think many people are going to argue about that. However, some of you think this is 25, which is not. Now, I don't think anyone actually is looking at this and saying, hey, the answer is 25. But if you thought that x plus 7 squared was x squared plus 49, then you have to think that 3 plus 4 squared is 25, because your logic, the way you're doing this, is 3 plus 4 squared, you believe is just 3 squared plus 4 squared, which is 9 plus 16, which is 25. But no one really thinks that 3 plus 4 squared is 25, because we know 3 plus 4 squared is 7 squared, and we know 7 squared is 49, not 25. So this is just one indication that when squaring like this, we don't just square the terms individually and sum them. So how do we do it? So how do we square binomials, you may ask? Well, what did I have? X plus 7 squared. So when I square anything, it just means to multiply it by itself. So this is x plus 7 times x plus 7. And it just so happens that x plus 7 times x plus 7 isn't x squared plus 49. But the way we square anything is just to multiply it by itself. But again, when I multiply this guy by itself, I just don't get x squared plus 49. So, and you should be familiar with multiplying stuff like this, and they could have called it FOIL, they could have called it the box method, they could have called it distribution, they could have just called it multiplying polynomials. But either way it goes, you should be familiar. So what happens is we're going to have, basically, we need to multiply both these terms by both these terms. Essentially, that's what needs to happen. It doesn't really have to be done in a particular order, but how we generally do it is we first multiply these two. X times x is x squared. And then we go with those two. X times 7 is 7x. And then these guys, 7 times x is 7x. And then those guys, 7 times 7 is 49. And what will happen is that this middle term, these two middle terms are like terms, and we can add them. And so we get x squared plus 14x plus 49. And you know, a lot of people call this FOIL because what I did is I multiplied the first terms of each parentheses, then I multiplied the outermost term of the whole expression, and then I multiplied the innermost terms of the whole expression, and then I multiplied the last terms of each parentheses. So that's where the FOIL deal comes from. But this is my answer. Now, this is how it is worked out. But if you understand how it behaves, and this is the beauty of mathematics, one of the most beautiful things about mathematics is that things tend to happen in patterns. And when I can recognize a pattern, I really don't have to work things out if I understand how the pattern works. And a pattern is easy to replicate. And this is definitely a pattern that's easy to replicate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write several squares of binomials and their answers and just kind of look at how the numbers behave. So if I had if I had x plus 8 squared, that would be x squared plus 16x plus 64. And if I had x plus 4 squared, that would be x squared plus 8x plus 16. If I had x minus 3 squared, that would be x squared minus 6x plus 9. If I had x minus 10 squared, that'll be x squared minus 20x plus 100. So a couple of things you should take from this. If you square a binomial, the answer is going to be a trinomial, not another binomial. So again, like x plus 8 squared is not going to be x squared plus 64. So one thing to help you stay correct in this is understand when you square a binomial, your answer is going to be a trinomial, meaning consisting of 3 terms. So you shouldn't get back 2 terms. And if you look at it, you know, the most common incorrect answer people would say, well, that's 2 of the 3 terms. So a lot of people look at this, oh, that's x squared plus 64. Well, x squared and 64 are 2 of the terms. Here, x squared and 16, x squared and 9, x squared and 100. So 2 of the 3 terms should be automatic. So the x squared and the 64 should be automatic. Now, how do we get this middle guy? Well, if you look at it, this is 16, it's twice as much as 8, 8 is twice as much as 4, 6 is twice as much as 3, 20 is twice as much as 10. It's just, you just double this number. And the understanding why is because when you multiply this out, here you're going to get 2 x terms that have the same coefficient, and you have 2 of them, so they get doubled. So this 7, you had 2 7x's, so they become 14x. So if I understand that, I need not to waste time trying to multiply this out every time, because I have an understanding that this number is going to be doubled. And I can double numbers in my sleep, and I can square numbers in my sleep. So all the math I'm doing for these problems is just squaring and doubling. I'm squaring 7 to get 49, I'm doubling 7 to get 14. And that's really all you have to do. So with that understanding, you should be able to look at binomials being squared like this and be able to rattle off the answer instantly, because you know it's going to be this number squared plus twice this number times x plus this number squared. That's all there is to it. And one thing I should also point out is notice the last number is always a plus sign in front of it, irregardless of if there's a plus sign here or a minus sign here. And that's because this last number is a consequence of squaring. And any real number times itself is always positive. So negative 10 times negative 10 is positive 100. Negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9. So this last number will always be positive, irregardless of the sign that's between. But the middle term takes whatever sign is given. So if it's plus 8, it's going to be plus 16x. If it's plus 4, it's going to be plus 8x. If it's minus 3, it's going to be minus 6x, etc. So let's look at some examples. Some different examples. So let me use different numbers than what I've used before. So let's say x minus 5 squared, x plus 2 squared, x minus 12 squared, x plus 18 squared, and lastly, let's say x minus 1 squared. All right. So I'm about to rattle these answers off, but I'd like you to pause the video and try to find these answers yourself first. and then unpause it and see your answers agree with my answers. Okay, so here's what we get here. So this is x squared minus 10x plus 25. This is x squared plus 4x plus 4. This is x squared minus 24x plus 144. This is x squared plus 36x plus 324. And this is x squared minus 2x plus 1. So if you didn't understand how to square binomials, I hope this short little lesson was gave some assistance to you and made it a little bit more understandable. And I hope going forward you're able to just look at something like this and write the answer instantly without having to work it out. Thanks for attending this lesson. We'll see you next time.
And I'm so exhausted, just did 100 problems and I almost lost it. But never try to doubt on me, cause like a TI-84, you can count on me. Get it?
Keep on rocking, keep on dancing, keep on knocking to the beat. Keep on rocking, keep on dancing, keep on knocking to the beat, the beat.
If you love math, stand up. If you love cash, band up. If you love class, hand up. And if you're off task, man, what?